primary purpose of this episode is to give you a quick update on the health of this Monstera, but in addition, we'll also do a really quick recap on the steps that we took to reviving this Monstera and converting it from a dehydrated gangly Monstera that was falling over to this beautiful, thriving tropical plant that you see in front of you now. So I'm really excited to show you the latest developments, so let's get into it. Now it's pretty obvious just by looking at this plant, you can tell it is happy and thriving. It's been about 3 to 4 weeks since the last episode of this troubleshooting series, and there's been a few developments since then. In the last episode, you would have seen there was some new growth happening on this plant, which was really exciting. But in that episode, the leaves were still curled up. I'm happy to report that they have now unfurled. You can see one here, and the other one is just here. Now, much to my disappointment, the new leaves didn't show any fenestrations. But that's okay, because I'm still stoked to see it, and in my mind, new growth means that this plant is happy in its new home. Another positive development that's happened since the last episode is that one of the stems has developed a new aerial root. I'll try and get you a close-up. Can you see it? Now, I'm really happy to see this for 2 reasons. Firstly, aerial root development shows that this plant is maturing, which means, fingers crossed, the next few leaves will start to show fenestrations. The other reason why I'm excited to see this aerial root growth is because it means there's plenty of humidity around the plant and it's starting to stimulate the growth of these roots. So that says to me, the steps that we took to fixing this plant up, like installing this moss pole, were the right steps, and it was actually searching for more moisture. But because of the positioning of this aerial root, I might actually restake this Monstera, so this aerial root will come in contact with the sphagnum moss in the moss pole. But all in all, this Monstera is responding very positively to the changes we've made, and I'm happy to report that it's well on its way to becoming a beautiful plant. Now let's take the time to recap the steps that we took to fixing up this Monstera, and hopefully shedding some light on how you can achieve the same thing with your plants at home. But before we do that, if this is the first time you're joining this troubleshooting series, I encourage you to go back and review the other episodes. Because in those episodes, not only are they step-by-step tutorials on implementing the changes, but we also explain the reasoning behind these changes and why these changes have resulted in this thriving plant that you see today. So I'll link the playlist up in the top right-hand corner, and I'll also include a list of the episodes in the description below, so check it out. Now let's rewind to about 8 weeks ago, when we first came to this Monstera. Now, if you recall, this Monstera was falling over and was a hot mess due to a lack of support. It also had brown tips developing on some leaves, and the leaves were also looking floppy and weak. And after performing a bit of an examination on this plant, we concluded that the brown tips developing on the leaves and the floppy appearance was likely due to a lack of moisture in the environment and in the soil. And the fact that this plant was falling all over the place was likely due to a lack of structure. So the steps that we took to remedy these issues was to install a self-watering sphagnum moss pole. Now, there were many reasons why we installed this sphagnum moss pole, not only just to make this plant look beautiful. The moisture in the sphagnum moss helps to increase the humidity around the Monstera, and as you can see from this aerial root, that was a huge success. It also provided a lot of structure for this plant, and as you can see, instead of falling all over the place, this Monstera is now standing up beautifully in that fountain-like structure that we are all after in our indoor plants. We also changed out the soil for this Monstera, and there was a few reasons for that. Adding some fresh soil gave this guy a nutrient boost, and the soil that it was in already was a couple of years old, so it was well overdue for that. Secondly, it allowed us to inject some chunkiness into the soil, and that provides the roots with aeration and also makes sure that the soil is not too wet and saturated. Now, looking at how this guy is progressing, it's evident that it's going well. So I thought this would be a really opportune time to finish off this series, because in my mind, we've rectified all the issues that this guy was exhibiting right at the beginning of it. If we do finally get those fenestrated leaves, I might do a quick update on this Monstera. But all in all, a fantastic outcome for this troubleshooting series. The processes and the steps that we took along this journey are the exact processes that we teach at the Garden Benchtop community to all the plant parents. So if you haven't already, I highly recommend going and checking out our website at thegardenbenchtop.com. It's a huge resource for troubleshooting and learning about indoor plants. And we also have a community called The Bench that is a forum for all plant parents to share their experiences, to ask questions, and to learn and help each other grow. along their plant parenting journey. It's free to join, so we'd love to see you there. Pop your head in, say hello, ask any questions you want, because we're here to help you. Thanks again for following along on this troubleshooting series. If you can do us a favour, hit that like button to tell us that you're getting some value from these series. And if you want to see more of what we're doing at the garden bench top, hit that subscribe button so that you'll be notified when we release more informative tutorials. Like we always say at the garden bench top, go get your hands dirty. See ya!